Welcome to Inspiration in Action Television, where you'll meet people who will inspire you to bring your dreams to life. Our guest is Anna Karina Tabunar, who is a journalist, a documentary filmmaker,
recovering journalist,
an influencer, a leader. Where do I stop? She's the owner of Iona Street Media here in Ottawa. And Anna Karina and I went to the same high school together.
Yes,
Queen of Angels Academy in Montreal. And we met each other when we worked in the newsroom at CJOH at CTV Ottawa, and became friends at work. And then you left the station and went on to do other things. And I sort of lost track of you for a little while, and then we've reconnected in the last couple of years. Tell me a little bit about what you got into when you left journalism. Well, you never leave journalism.
It's really hard to recover from. It really is, exactly. And I'm still working on it.
Yeah.
After the newsroom, and it was a wonderful experience, as you know. You know, it gave me the chance to connect with people and to tell their stories to an audience, to really help influence the community, I think. Yeah. But at the time, I was also torn because I felt that I needed to be more present with my family. Mm-hmm. So when the opportunity came, I took it, and I started working as a spokesperson for Canada's Aviation Security Authority, CATSA. Heavy stuff, security, terrorism trends, incident reports. It was a really dynamic, interesting environment. And then I got ill.
Yeah, what happened?
Really ill. The diagnosis was a rare neurological disorder called Gullian Barre syndrome, or GBS, a variant of it called Miller-Fisher variant. And what it is, in my case, I'd had a gastrointestinal bug, which I just dismissed as food poisoning. And then afterward, a few weeks later, I started developing these very odd symptoms. And like most women, I just ignored it. I figured it's just stress, it'll just go away. Right. So this was my body telling me, whoa, something's up. So things like I had lost all sensation from my elbows to my fingertips, from my knees to my feet, and no sensation in my face. And my fingers started to bloat. You know what I thought it was? Well, it's just stress. I just need to drink more water. Yeah, so for days this was happening.
I can see that. I can see how that happens, yeah.
And then my limbs got heavier, and I was still going to work until one day I woke up with a big headache, and I was otherwise really healthy, and I never got headaches. Yet I went into work, I did all my meetings like this, trying to massage my temple, trying to massage that headache away. I thought, this is weird, just weird. And then I was walking back to my office, and I paused, and I looked down, and I couldn't see the floor. So I got to my office by feeling my way, and I thought, okay, I think it's time to see the doctor. Mm-hmm. So when I got there, she did a bunch of neurological exams, and if you're otherwise healthy, when the doctor writes neurological on that prescription pad, you take it seriously. Mm-hmm. But I didn't immediately. Her orders to me were, get to the hospital. You need scans, get to the hospital. So I just took the paper and I drove myself back home. I waited for the whole family to arrive. I'd made supper. I got the kids ready for their sports. I did this, yes. I said nothing. And I attended my son's soccer game. I couldn't see it properly, but I attended it because it was just what I did. And I had my blackberries buzzing, and I was trying to juggle all that. And then it was only after I had prepared lunches for the kids the next day, and everybody was to bed, I said, okay, to my husband, can you take me to the hospital? So it took that long for me to listen to my body. Mm-hmm. And that put me on a very different path. After that point, I couldn't work.
Right.
And it was really difficult because when you define yourself by what you do, in my case, it was Anna Karina Tabunar, CTV News Ottawa, Anna Karina Tabunar, CBC News Montreal, Anna Karina Tabunar, spokesperson. I couldn't do any of that work.
Right.
I couldn't think, I couldn't write, I couldn't speak properly, I had no fine motor skills. I couldn't read, I couldn't look at my children's faces. I thought, what am I going to do? But it was the greatest blessing that happened to me. It really was.
I knew you were going to say that. And
how did you know?
We've had these beautiful conversations since you discovered that it was actually a gift that you received in a weird sort of way. And you've taken and worked at recovery, worked at finding your new feet, finding where you can fit in now. And let's talk about, because you came to take the course in happiness with me.
I did.
And we had such a nice weekend. And then I started to hear about you had this idea for a documentary film. And we connected you up with my nephew, Rich Donovan, in Toronto, actually in Manhattan at that time.
Yes.
And he's big in the disability world. He's like a little bit of a rock star in that world.
With a big brain.
With a big brain.
Big brain.
And you've started to really take this gift you've been given, see it for what it is, and now you're using that, your gift, your many gifts, to influence other people and educate us on what it's like to live with disability and how we can become more aware, how we can plug people into our society in a more effective way, because we forget as human beings to see beyond certain things.
The apparent.
Right.
Yes.
We are so thick that way. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's like we're going back in time sometimes, I think, right? Anyway, talk a little about your documentary and what you're working on now to try to enable us to connect better.
Thanks for that segue. I tend to ramble on, especially when it comes to something that I'm really passionate about.
Fine.
And this project is one of them. It started off, like you said, as this little idea. The idea came to me because as I was recovering, I needed to get back to what I knew how to do, which was the journalism. And I told you it's hard to recover that and video storytelling. So I took a cameraman. We went out and we started speaking with people in the disability community, people who had taught me a lot in terms of accommodation and coping. And so the intention initially was to take their stories, put them on the internet to show people that, people with disabilities can run marathons. They can be deaf and blind and do their first triathlon, things like this. But then I realized after hearing their stories that there was a much more deeper, a more urgent story.
Yeah.
And the common thread was the unemployment. So I did a lot more digging. The journalist in me again. You put me in touch with Rich Donovan. He helped me see a very different perspective, that it's more of an opportunity. And this is what it is. And so this is how Talent Untapped was born. I'm trying to shine the light on a group of individuals. People with disabilities actually form the largest minority group in the world. 1 billion people live with disabilities.
It's like China.
It's the size of China.
It's the size of China.
So imagine if you can harness that, figure out what all the wonderful skills are, and then maximize that. And so this is the approach of the documentary that I'm taking, showing the value, not just the business value, but the social return on investment, and a little bit of my story too, which is, it's been difficult to do. And thanks to your coaxing, I'm realizing that there's also value in me sharing my story.
Hello. It's this whole thing we talk, it's the buzzword today is vulnerability.
Yes.
Brene Brown talks a lot about vulnerability. But you know what? If we never allow ourselves to be vulnerable and to be seen as vulnerable, how are other people ever going to connect with us?
Now, I'll tell you something. People often refer to people with disabilities as the vulnerable sector.
Yeah.
They're vulnerable because they open up their hearts too.
Yeah.
And so
I want to be part of the vulnerable sector. I like that. I like that.
Welcome to my tribe.
I'm in your tribe, baby girl. So I'm going to be keeping my eyes open for Talent Untapped.
Yes.
I'm going to be watching for you on screens around the world, because look at this face. This is a face you fall in love with. This is a face who tells great stories
You are too sweet.
So I want to wish you the best, because Anna Karina, I'm so proud of how you have you're just emerging, soaring, SOARING.
That's my word for 2015, soar. Thank you.
Love it. Thank you.
So Talent Untapped, watch out for the Kickstarter campaign. It's going to come up very soon. And if I can also give a plug to a show that I host, it's called Canada in Perspective, and it shines the light on people with disabilities and the everyday issues that people face.
That's a good point. And where do we see that?
On AMI television.
Love it. Okay. All the best. Thank you.
Thank you.